thought forms can be sent to another human being with a strong emotional charge to bypass your consciousness, to go straight into your unconscious, especially if you're not very Hi, following on from the story on thought forms, which we've touched within the meditations, we're going to focus now on the relationship to thought forms affecting people by others, and how we can protect ourselves if such an event occurs in our lives. Let me start by sharing a story from my youth. I began very early in my life to train as a spiritual healer. And one day, I was lying on my bed and I was trying to get out of my body. And I went into my astral body, which is a thought form, which I generated. And as I moved out, I thought it would be a great idea to go and visit the place where many of the healers, powerful healers, allegedly, at the time lived. It was like a center. Anyway, I sort of floated towards them. And when I reached the gates, it was like a force field, like an energy field. It was sticky and pretty impregnable, really. And by the gates, there were really more like jaguars. And it's like you can't get in, basically. There were guardians at the gate. And and then I said, I'm a friend. And with those words, it's a bit like Harry Potter, with those words, the energy field disappeared from me. It was no longer there for me. And the jaguars moved sideways and I just floated in. Had a little rummage around, floated around a bit, and then I came back. So I was very pleased with myself at the time. So what can we learn from this? You might assume, oh, you've gone out of your body. No, I did not go out of my body. I now know, as an older guy, it's not possible for my ego to move out of my body. My spirit, my soul, is from another dimension. It's connected with me in this dimension, and it keeps tabs on me. But my ego can't go anywhere. But my consciousness can be in many places. My soul is from another dimension. It can be in many places at the same time. Just like in science, do we actually know this for a fact? I think we sort of do, that a quark can be in two places at the same time. They're experimenting with quantum computing. So our consciousness, when I go into my ethereal and astral bodies and I go somewhere beyond me, I do so with my consciousness, but not all of it. Some of it stays behind. I'm still in my body, but I can still be in another place. And this is important to take on board, because imagine if you were to leave your body, it's a bit like any squatter could get in. Any rogue spirit could say, oh, nice place, I'll move in there, thank you very much. I'm taking over, elbow out. I come back, can't get in, I'm locked out. It doesn't work that way, right? We can't leave our bodies, but we can project our consciousness beyond our bodies. The other thing to bear in mind is that these healers had set up an energy field to protect themselves. How did they do this? Is one question. The other one is, how did I get in? Well, I got in because my heart was open. I was a friend. I said, I'm a friend. I didn't just say I'm a friend. I felt my friendship. And so basically, an energy field is not like a metallic bell that nothing gets through. It's intelligent. It responds to who it is, what their intentions are that's coming in, which is another way of saying that we can protect ourselves from dark energies, from negative emotional energies coming our way. So there is that. We'll talk about that in a minute. I could add at this point that the good guys, we only protect ourselves, our environment. We do not attack. We don't go on the attack. We don't lower ourselves to our potential enemy's level of vibration, because that just brings us down to their level. Yeah. So as long as we stay within our energy field of, dare I say, goodness, we're not in trouble with anyone. And if they try to interfere, it will rebound on them. So I'll talk more about this in a minute. So in the last episode, I touched on this, how love is a ray of will that descends from God through the soul dimension all the way through to us, and how God itself reflects itself in its shadow, the soul dimension. The soul dimension also has this issue of there is darkness within it because it's split. And the darkness is the part of itself that is not connected to the rays, to the love that emanates down from God. So that is what we would call the negative spirits, the archons. And it's not the whole of the fourth dimension, it's a small part, but nevertheless, it's there. And when that energy comes down to human beings, we also, like the soul dimension, we reflect that. And now we ourselves, we love. The love from God comes down through us. But when it gets to us, it's not the same. Or the love from God is the same. But when we try to replicate what it's like to be God, because we are in God's image, in a way, metaphorically speaking, we also attempt to love. But our love is corrupted. in the sense that it is a genetic love. It is a love that comes from our hormonal system. It's not real love. And so we love each other, but it's a transactional love. It is an ego love, and it doesn't quite do it. And so what happens is that we now become, because we are lacking this love, we become a little bit vampiric. We want relationships with other people to feed me. I want to be loved. I want you to love me, because there's that void within me that is desperate for love. And that applies to all human beings. That need to be loved is really desperate. And it will never satisfy. It's not possible, because no one can love us from outside. We can only open our hearts to the love from God. It sounds a bit corny, sorry, but to the love from soul that comes through us, through our hearts. And when we relax into that love, when we relax into our heart and let that fill us, that is the only thing that satisfies. And it needs to be replenished, but it is a fountain of water, it's a fountain of love that is constantly flowing. All we have to do is open to that, and it satisfies our egos, it satisfies us. We are like a void, like I say, and that void will never fill, and no one can fill that. But, it is as it is, but we can continuously nourish ourselves from the love of God through us. And that is the redeeming quality for humanity. But then there are these people who are cut off from that love, in the same way as the archons are cut off from the love of God from the soul dimension. So within humanity, there are those people who are cut off from the love of God in themselves. And all they have is egocentric behavior. And some of these people, they, unlike the majority of people, what they experience is intense fear. These people subvert their fear, and instead what they experience, the fear is there, but what they experience is a need to control others. And it is through that need to control which becomes sadomasochistic. I was listening to Tucker Castle the other day, and he was talking how some of these people at the top of the political structures that he used to engage with, how they would talk between themselves, not with the minions. They would talk about, oh yes, and we killed so-and-so, we killed these people, or we killed those people. And what Tucker experienced was like, these people actually get off on it. They enjoy the power of life and death over others. So this is the extreme I'm talking about of corruption. When we are so fearful in ourselves that we focus on controlling our environment. We want to be in charge. We want to command the forces. We want to command the people who will do our bidding, who will keep us safe, where we are important. My soul deep inside may be dark, but I am important. People look up to me. That is the seed of corruption. This is how we go into the black hole. And behind that, there is a level at which the black magician appears. But black magicians come in many, many ranges. It's not all I'm black, you're white. There are many, many levels. Let me share another story from someone I know. Um, this friend of mine, when she was young, she'd been traumatized in her childhood. She had very, very low level of self-worth. She was very meek. And she came under the influence of this, we'll call him a healer. He was a healer, sort of healer, we'll call him the healer. And when she came under his influence, very charismatic, and the first thing he did was he gave her a bracelet, a gold bracelet, quite intricate, delicate, but quite an intricate gold bracelet. And they ended up having a relationship, and after a few months, she realized that his finger was in too many pies because there were quite a few women around him. And she said, I don't want this. And she moved away, but he chased her. You know, she was still filled with his thoughts, and he chased her with texts. And there was another woman there who we're going to call her the witch. And this other woman, she also was infatuated with him and had a sort of relationship with him. And she'd read the texts and of his infatuation with my friend. And it turns out that within that period of time, my friend became very woolly-headed, and her energy totally went. She was just listless, just no energy, and she couldn't focus. And she had friends, mutual friends, and the word got to the healer of her state. And he immediately went to see her, and according to her, he did a number of things around the place, and he generated some sort of protection because he knew that this other woman was a witch or witchy. Basically, she dabbled in all of these things, just like he did, obviously. And anyway, after he came and did this protection, very quickly the woolliness disappeared and her energy came back. And as the energy came back, my friend got rid of the bracelet and she just moved away from them. I would add that she had a friend who said, oh, you should go and ask help from the angels. And so she went walking and she began to find little feathers. And to her, it was like a message from the angels. And she did this over a number of days, and there was increasingly more and more feathers. And the reality of that is another story. But for her, it was a confirmation of protection, and she felt much more secure. So what do we take from that? People can generate thought forms which can be emotionally charged. This can be added to bracelets, to items. So one can put an emotional charge into an item. And thought forms can be sent to another human being with a strong emotional charge to bypass your consciousness, to go straight into your unconscious, especially if you're not very together in yourself. You can be easily manipulated. It can go straight to your unconscious, and it can then connect and interact with your own traumas and create problems for you in your health in some way or other, or they can manipulate you in some way or other. So we are sensitive to that, all of us, and our level of protection depends on where we're at. The more flighty we are in ourselves, the more manipulated we can be by others. The more together we are in self, the less fractured in our personalities, the less chance of something coming from outside, and we get all these negative thoughts coming in our heads, and we say, that's not me. Out. Okay? Laugh at our thoughts. It's nonsense. Forget it. But when we're not strong and we identify with our thoughts, someone can project them into us. They come into our head. We get an emotional response. We get all disturbed in whatever way, and we think it's all us. So, how can we help ourselves in such a situation? What can we do? The easiest one is to sit down somewhere and generate feeling intensity from the heart. From the emotion, you're fighting fire with fire. But if you can generate a feeling intensity within your heart, from which you develop an energy field which is a one-way mirror. So basically, you connect with self, smile in yourself, and generate this energy field, and you turn it into a one-way mirror. Nothing that can harm me can get in. It will be reflected. Only love, good wishes will find the way into my heart, into my consciousness. And every day you practice for a few minutes. You develop the sense protection. When you've got that, you can create one to go around your house, around your home. You have to put time into it to develop this. These things don't grow on trees. Sorry. You have to generate the feeling and surround yourself in this bubble. You surround your family. You surround your space. That's how we do it, to begin with. So, to reiterate, if you've got darkness in yourself, if you've got negativity in yourself because you haven't dealt with your traumas, you are susceptible. You're susceptible to manipulation from others. And the surest way, the only way, is to connect with our hearts and to clear the decks of all our past traumas. If we're negative, if we get triggered negatively, then we are at the mercy. Now, I'm talking about serious people, but think about it. The average Joe blog is being constantly bombarded with these energy thoughts of compliance, and they use fear. So we've got thought forms that individuals can send, but collectively, and be aware that we exist in a world of light and darkness. And there is darkness. And the light is not at the top of the pyramid of our world. I mean, look around you. It's not. It's the darkness that's at the top of the pyramid. And the way it flows down the hill is through indoctrination, bureaucracy, and controlling of our consciousness. That's the fight that we're in right now. I will talk more in the next episode, when I will focus much more on the individual relationships and how we can free ourselves. Let me just say, for those of you who are interested and keep watching my episodes, thank you for your interest, and thank you for giving me a like and subscribing. Bye for now.